they always say groundwater is abundant, but it only took one generation, if you want to think about it, to go from what it was in the late 80s, which is you had open wells still functioning, to by 2010, everything was like 600, 800 feet.
So one of the farmer leader only came up with saying that, so you put the sky on the sheet. They used to paint on the sheet, put the sky, put 100 water pots. Because in those areas, people used to carry water with plastic water pots. So put 100 water pots, put the rain. Below put the ground and show only 9 or 10. Communication is one important thing, but I think more than communication, I think it is basically making the data public.
Welcome to the Water Data Podcast, where we talk about the science, the stories, and the systems that shape our water future. I'm your host, Veena Srinivasan. Every couple of weeks, we'll chat about how better data and evidence can result in better decision-making and ultimately better outcomes for people and the planet. So if you're a student, a researcher, an innovator, a practitioner, or just curious about how we can better manage this precious resource, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. Today, it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Somasekhar Rao, Director Technical ACIWRM, the Advanced Center for Integrated Water Resources Management, Government of Karnataka. Dr. Rao has a PhD in geophysics from Osmania University, and he spent many years working with the Government of Netherlands, the Food and Agriculture Organization, as well as the Asian Development Bank. He joined Government of Karnataka first as a technical advisor in 2014, and then went on to become to found and become the Director Technical of ACIWRM, which is a very, very unique and innovative organization, one of the few in the country that does serious research and innovation work and embeds that into practices of the government. Dr. Rao, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
So the reason we wanted to have this conversation is very, very few governments, and Karnataka is really unique in that respect, have really taken this idea of data on one side and then, of course, data beyond narrow kind of, civil engineering, looking at IWRM concepts very broadly. And ACIWRM is a great example. So we want to kind of today walk through your whole journey of, I would go to say water data, starting from the early parts of your career, which started with the APFAMGS project. So I was wondering if you want to start by just telling us how that came about, how your involvement came about, and then how kind of data was so central to changing, farmer behavior in that project.
Yeah. Actually, APFAMGS has been a really milestone project in my career. So initially, when working with the Netherlands government, we were doing a big program of drilling borewells. Almost, I think, 50,000 borewells program or something like that.
This was in the early 90s?
Late 90s.
Late 90s.
Yeah, that is called APWELL, Andhra Pradesh Wells Program, Dutch assistance. So 50,000 wells they started with, actually. And then when I joined Netherlands government, I started handling it. Then by that time, early, I think 95, that time, 96, already groundwater decline and all is a big new discussion happening. So then I just asked my project people to reassess as to what is it, why we should go with 50,000 wells and kind of things. So that also with bilateral aid, so with the government also, government of Andhra Pradesh at that time. So when they did, they came up with the finding saying that only 3,500 are possible from 50,000. So that's when then I challenged my team, okay, then we should look at groundwater sustainability, because all these 3,500 borewells, even if you drill, they have to be sustainable somehow. So then what should we do on the groundwater side to make it more sustainable kind of thing? So then we started looking at it. And after a couple of years of certain activities and all, one bright hydrogeologist, he came up with the idea saying that, no, now I think we have to put farmers into control. So we need to share the data with them. We have to tell them that this is what it is. So then only it will happen.
Data, meaning water level data?
Yeah, groundwater related data, water levels, the pumping yields and drawdowns and everything. So we listed out few topics. Then in about 10, 12 villages, we started sharing the data in the meetings and all. And it was amazing response from farmers. It really made us think, wow, then why we are not doing all these years. So then after that, then I said, okay, then why don't you train them and make them collect data? Then the participatory hydrological monitoring was coined, and then our people trained some of those active villagers, active farmers, and gave the water level measurement equipment and all, and then gave some tables to paint on the wall, record the levels kind of a thing. So that was done in about 16 or 20 villages. The response was very good. So once we started that, then there has been several discussions with farmers. They come back and say that, okay, this is how it is, so why should we do this? So we realized that sharing data with them has really enabled, first, participation by them. Second, also engaging them into good decision making. You discuss with them and they only make decisions.
And specifically the decisions is that if it's rain less, they'll change the cropping pattern.
Yeah, cropping patterns and all related to the groundwater use. Whether sometimes it is pumping less also, and those kind of things, keeping it for summer drinking water.
And so following some Rabi season following also.
Yeah. So those kind of decisions, they were ready. So that's when then I said, okay, then let us make a formal evaluation study on this approach, so-called participatory groundwater monitoring. So let's see how we can take it forward. And I was ready to change the nature of the project of APWELL also at that time. So we brought in some experts from Netherlands also then, TNO Institute, which was in groundwater. So then they gave a good report saying that this has been the best in the world for groundwater monitoring by farmers themselves. It's the best in the world. The responses are very good. So this is how it should be in future kind of a thing. So then my team said, okay, then we will go into not only monitoring, but we should get into management, not just monitoring. So we should also do recharge. We should also do management and all. So then we said, okay, then participatory groundwater management. So the farmers manage participatory groundwater management. Then in that same project, we tried with...
that was the APFAMGS project, right?
No, before APFAMGS.
This is pre-APFAMGS.
Yeah, APWELL.
Okay.
So the experiment happened in the APWELL at the fag end.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we experimented with that concept and also teaching, telling farmers this is how recharge can be done and all those things. So it was very good response in about 40-50 villages. So then I said, okay, then we will frame a new program. So based on this farmers managed groundwater experiences, we developed this APFAMGS project. So we expanded it to several districts.
So the second APFAMGS was World Bank funded, right?
No, it's also Dutch funded.
It was still Dutch funding. Okay.
Yeah, it was still Dutch funded only.
Okay.
So then we formulated that program, about 650 villages, I think, 638 or 648 something, 7 districts, all the drought-prone districts of AP. So while we were doing this, then the whole discussion of building the capacity of farmers in groundwater management and all came. So then we said, okay, then how do we do it? What is the methodology? What is the extension method? So I said, trainings and all, no. We cannot do that because that is already being done for ages. We are already seeing nothing much happening. So I challenged my team, come up with something new. So that's when they came up with this non-formal education type thing. They said, no, we can't just teach them in classrooms. So we have to use this non-formal education methodology. So somebody researched on the education sector, how it happened and all that. Then I said, okay, now we need to get it to water. So then some material were prepared, some tested in few villages with few farmers, and response was great. So that was what APFAMGS was formulated at that time. And it was a very cost-effective program. It doesn't cost much because you just build the capacity of the farmers much, not big investments like borewell drilling and all that. So only some equipments. So when that non-formal education methodology was embraced by the team had got hydrogeologists, agriculture people, social scientists, gender people, and everybody. So the discussions went very well. So then we had to catch hold of some experts to basically understand more about it. So there was one organization called World Education in Boston. So we somehow came in touch with them because they used to work with integrated pest management in Indonesia, Philippines, and all. So Dutch used to fund those. So in that connection, we came to know. Then we had a discussion with them. One, Mr. David Keller, he was very resourceful, and we discussed long. He came to Delhi, and we discussed a lot. Then he told me one thing: you need to do something else before you really get onto capacity building a farm. So what is that? He said, you have to do a de-learning exercise for your staff. Because all of these are postgraduates. Everybody thinks that they are the smartest in the world, but they should be realized that there is much more with farmers rather than them. So we have run a structured 2 weeks course for 100 staff.
What was the response?
De-learning. And everybody liked it. Initially, there was resistance.
What is this? I got a PhD, now you're telling me unlearn.
Initially, there was resistance, but after 1 or 2 days, it also has to do with the resource persons probably. The David Keller was the main resource person, and there are some other people. So they made them understand. So that has really spinned the change. All of this team, suddenly everybody thought, wow, we have to learn from farmers, kind of a thing. So that's when the material development
started. Was the main thing that they just stopped speaking and started listening? Is that the main thing that they did? What was the core of the thing they learned?
The core of the thing they learned is that first thing is that you don't need high scientific concepts or theories or word jugglery to teach to the farmers. So you can't tell them all those things what you learned in university, what you are publishing and kind of thing. So you need to find something alternative, and which is vernacular and which is locally understandable. So that was one of the main things. So then it also challenged each one of them to think, okay, for recharge, how do we tell them? And all those things. First thing. Second thing, as you said, yes, it is not talking much, listening, but also engaging with the farmers in questioning mode. You don't tell, you don't advise. So you ask a question. This is the problem. So what is it happening? Or what are you doing it? How are you handling it? How did you do earlier? This kind of a thing. So that we called it power of questioning. So
after you ask the question, you have to listen. I think it's the asking questions and then listening to what people say.
And also engaging in a rightful conversation where you really don't advise. That was the bottom line.
And you're treating them with respect.
That was the bottom line. You don't ever tell that I have solution. Do it like this, which all our extension system does.
You let the solution emerge.
So actually in that whole process, some of the materials, the teaching aids kind of a thing, farmers themselves have brought up so many new things. So one of the interesting thing I always liked, one of them is the recharge, the whole rainfall doesn't go into ground fully. And so there are, depending on the geology, it's like 7%, 8%, 9%, 10%, not more, 11%, not more than that. So how do you really communicate this to the farmer? So one of the farmer leaders only came up with saying that, so you put the sky on the sheet. They used to paint on the sheet, put the sky, put 100 water pots. Because in those areas, people used to carry water with plastic water pots. So put 100 water pots, put the rain. Below put the ground and show only 9 or 10.
Very nice.
So those are the kind of things which emerged. Some our staff did, but many of them have emerged from the farmers themselves. So that's how this whole thing picked up, and amazing results and amazing impact it has shown. And out of 648 villages, at least 400 plus villages, the groundwater levels improved.
Then did that sustain?
Sorry?
Did that sustain?
Yeah, at least 6-7 years I followed. It did.
Okay.
Even after the project closed. It did. Well, some of the NGOs were also working still in those areas.
Correct.
On other
so they
programs.
continued with the water budgeting, the crop water planning.
So it was amazing results. The impact was really great.
So let me just step back to the APWELL for a second, which is when the project started in the early 90s, was there still shallow groundwater in Andhra Pradesh at that time?
No.
No.
I don't think so. Because
meaning open wells had already dried up?
No, some places it was there. But largely it was not there because the project had drilling up to 200 feet. All these wells. So when they had a provision of drilling up to 200 feet, I think they already concluded that there's no more shallow groundwater.
Because When do you think the shallow groundwater disappeared in this area? In the 80s, you would say?
No, 90s only.
90s.
80s it was better. No, once the drilling technology improved, when there was this diamond bit drills down the hole.
Down the hole, yeah.
Down the hole things. When that production happened more in India, it led straight away to heavier exploitation and groundwater. I can very well relate that.
I mean, the reason I'm asking, see, we have projects which we work with African partners. Of course, Africa has a much lower population density than India. It's not the same. But they always say groundwater is abundant. But it only took one generation, if you want to think about it, to go from what it was in the late 80s, which is you had open wells still functioning, to by 2010, everything was like 600, 800 feet, 400, 600 feet. So it doesn't take that long in a granitic place to kind of completely...
No, it won't. Africans now must understand that groundwater is not much.
Yeah. And a lot of that is also granitic and, and so, but I've also heard pushback saying that, Africa hasn't even started exploiting its resources. Why you guys talking about putting brakes already? And that's not the issue.
No.
But to say that we know how the story ends.
That's where the data should come in play.
Exactly.
You share them with the data, tell them, look, this is what it is. And I'm sure there will be trends if you look at it.
Yeah.
So that must kick in. They cannot say that, no, we didn't exploit it.
So how many of those 50,000 which came down to 3,500, how many wells actually got drilled under APWELL?
Yeah, 3,000 wells.
3,000 wells. But they were private or public?
No. There it was private, but the concept was community irrigation. So it used to be shared by 7 or 8 farmers. So 7 or 8 farmers here, they used to earmark 1 cent of land. So as a common land for all of them. So I think formally agreements were not there initially. Later it happened, but in informal agreement there used to be, and that land used to be registered formally with that. We used to call them Borewell Users Association.
Right.
So that land belongs to everyone. So Borewell is in that. So then they used to share with pipes.
So last year I had a chance to visit some of these original APWELL. I don't know if it was APWELL or APFARMS, whether APFARMS also had some drilling, but one of the community irrigation that was built from that period. And the original collective still exists. So in the sense that did not change.
Where is this? Anantapur?
In Anantapur, in Kadri. And what I found is, though, right outside the border, though, as soon as people made enough wealth out of the bore wells, because bore wells, at the end of the day, irrigation does bring wealth.
Yes.
But the thing is, once that one generation had finished and got the wealth, the next generation has different aspirations.
Yes, naturally.
And the problem is, that's when the problem starts, because then there's only so many raindrops.
Yeah.
And the amount of land that is thirsty exceeds the number of raindrops that we have, right? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, of course, you've seen in that place now a lot of tank filling projects. So it's also, I mean, in a sense, there's a progression of how everything has
definitely
evolved. So now you're seeing external recharge coming in through these, tank filling projects, and then water levels going up because of that. So it's a cycle. Then that starts to get overexploited,
Yeah.
And
actually, that 50,000 borewells coming down to 3,500 is also because when this project started drilling in areas where there were no borewells at all, when there was good yield, then others used to get loan and drill themselves also outside the project.
Outside the collective, borewell collective.
Outside the collective and outside the project ambit also.
Yeah.
So then you have so many borewells coming up which are not part of your project plan. So then automatically the usage increased and levels decreased. So that's how this monitoring idea also came.
Did you see that people in the borewell collectives actually moved away from water-intensive paddy to other types of crops?
Yes.
Yeah.
But not in an APWELL project.
Okay.
Yeah, it happened in APFAMGS.
Okay.
Because APWELL was only drilling, sharing water, doing it, agricultural support and all those things. When monitoring started, when the trends have been showing that, look, it's coming down, so later on it will be like this, nothing will be there, then that's where it happened. And definitely we have done a survey too. about 5,000 plus acres or hectares, paddy was reduced in all these borewell collectives in APFAMS period. Because in APFAMS, we never drilled wells. It was all about capacity building, monitoring, sharing, crop water budgeting, and all those things. Then crops. In all these 600 plus villages, there were 7 major varieties earlier. It has come to 23 or 24 varieties in 3 years. Crop diversification has happened so much.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Were there any lessons in, because one thing people don't, I mean, which you've said very, very clearly is it's not about the technical sophistication. Almost it's have rudimentary but accurate science, but communicated really, really well. And it's really the bottleneck is the communication of science and not the underlying, were you accurate to the second decimal place?
Not just communication. Communication is one important thing, but I think more than communication, I think it is basically making the data public. Because even if you had communicated the concepts and everything very well.
Just to the GP, for example, it wouldn't have had the same.
No. I think it's basically because you had put the groundwater levels on the wall, put it in the public domain. Everybody walking across in the villages discussing. You had put the graphs, hydrographs.
I mean, I saw this in Atal Jal scheme also, but the problem is it was done by an external consultant. So I think the thing that made APFARMS really unique was that it was so organic. It was done by the community.
Yes.
And that's where the scale up is hard, right? Because it's extremely, I mean, this is, I think, one of the lessons that we've learned from, can you scale up, bottom up participation very, very fast? And I think that's the challenge, because the minute you scale up, it has to work. Only government can scale up at that speed and scale. And then it goes with the government logic and not the community logic.
Yeah. No, that's what even a couple of weeks back when I was having meeting with Chief Secretary Madam, there was some discussion on this. So government cannot scale up these successful pilots.
At this speed.
They can't. Because fundamentally you have to change the business rules of the government department to change. That is institutional reform, which no one talks about it. When you talk about a successful pilot, you say all this what happened, but you don't talk about what it needs to be done by the government department. Even in Atal Bhujal Yojana, I flagged this in every Delhi meeting, but it was not enough, taken care enough. So you have asked the government department, you have asked the district administration to do exactly what the APFAMs want to do, but you never changed the rules of the game. So how will they do it?
I think there was also an NGO capacity issue, because I remember one NGO saying, government came and said, can you do this? And they said, we can do 45 villages. They said, no, we want to do 45,000. So there is a problem with scale there.
Yeah, it's there. But that's what, even in APFAMS, when we started, when we expanded to 7 districts and 600 plus villages, we found that NGO capacity was not enough. But we invested consciously. We had trained NGOs first. We picked up local NGOs from each district. We trained them. We invested a lot on trainings first to them. So government can do that. So I don't think capacity alone is the bottleneck. I think the major bottleneck, in my experience, is
mindset
reform. Like an example, one of the Atal Bhujal meetings in November, the state level committee where I am the member, one of the important item in project indicator is that you share data with public. So somebody asked that. Nothing. It's not happening. So then I asked why. I asked the project in charge why. Because it's there clearly in the project. So he was saying some other rule where he's not supposed to share. So you have not addressed that. So how will you share just because it's there in the project document? For him, project document is not sacrosanct. For him, it is the rule. So it didn't happen. So in that meeting, then the chief secretary decided that no, put up TV screens in every gram panchayat, put up the data into public thing and all that. So now they
happened after
running,
that.
Now they are running to procure TV screens and all those. So institutional, I think reform should come first before you really upscale a good practice. Because the good practice happened because you have done it in a different way. It was successful, not with the same existing rules. So that's something it's linking is being missed by donors, by banks, by everybody, by government and everyone.
So let's change gears a little bit to your own attempt at institutional reform through ACIWRM, because that is your bid to take the learnings and say how do you embed it in government. Is that fair? A fair characterization?
There were discussions at the government level about serious challenges of the water sector. Fortunately, in that time, that was way back in 2009 itself, when I was still in FAO. So we were discussing several things here. We had some capacity building initiatives and all. So there were several challenges happening. So that's when I presented this APFAMS once. Then I said, look, if you do things differently, it will happen. So for that, if you're talking about the government-wide change that has to happen, then you need to have somebody like that inside. So then I said, okay, then what we will do? Shall we set up a committee? Shall we set up a special group or these kind of things? And they were quoting the example of Kawad, the watershed program earlier, Kawad Society and all those things. So then they asked me to write up something and we have given the concept. So government really realized that unless you do business in a different way, these emerging new problems cannot be addressed. So that's where we pushed the integrated water resource management concept. So then we said integrated water resource management, agriculture should compulsorily work with the irrigation, which is not happening. Then we said even tanks, the groundwater, conjunctive use and all those things. So like this, we listed 4 or 5 departments. I said all these people should work together. Then how will you do it?
Yeah, and urban and rural is not at all integrated.
Yeah.
And at
so
least
that's when then one of the bright IAS officers said, okay, now I think we should start a new setup, having multidisciplinary team kind of a thing. So then I designed this ACIWRM and government embraced it. So there have been several discussions that it should be a cell within the department or it should be a committee and all those things.
But right now it's a society which is essentially a parastatal of some kind.
Yeah, yeah. And the design is also such a way that first thing is multidisciplinary teams. Second thing is it has mandate to work with all departments. It's not just WRD. All the funding comes from WRD, but it can straight away go to agriculture and work. It can straight away go to urban and work. And chief secretary is the chair of the board. So
how has that structure is very important because the chief secretary is the state of the board, chair of the board. It's possible to get convergence across departments. Has that been your experience that people have responded for that reason?
Very well.
Because I think it's an important point to make because another state might be inspired but might set it up differently.
Yeah, actually, Himachal Pradesh team came to us to study our setup. Gujarat team came to us to study our setup. And there was one more state also. But no one has done it so far. And not just this working with other departments and having it highest level. Even the staff, human resources, we had consciously designed a provision of government department staff from open market like me, so with specializations. Then international staff, there was a provision made to hire international people. There was a provision made to hire consultants, short-term consultants.
I know of no other, because what is a technical subject? You can't do it without technical capacity in governments, and it's extremely difficult to get high-end technical talent because they are going to be hired by, if not the IITs as professors, but by Googles and so on. So I think what you've done to be able to get the best available technical talent has been crucial, right?
Yeah, but it has been very challenging.
I know. That's been a
for
hard.
hydrologists, we advertised it 5 times.
I know. And I should say for everybody at excellent salaries, and it wasn't available because people underestimate this challenge of getting manpower that can actually do technical stuff for government.
Yeah.
So I know one of the things, and you can tell us about others, but the one that we know the most about is your work with Tungabhadra and all of the work that you've done in Tungabhadra Basin. So you want to kind of walk us through how you brought all the pieces together to make IWRM work?
Yeah, I think the very first and foremost realization for us when we started working this is the data. So it's like when you have to do river basin planning, you are supposed to ask all the departments. So our people used to go approach, we used to write letters, have meetings, ask for data, but it was never coming through faster. So that's when I said, no, we should have some kind of a water data portal. Let's do that. So then they will also be used. Then they will come. So then we started developing this water resource information system. Once we started having initial framework of it, we put whatever data we got it, and we used to show to them in the department. Then they used to say, oh no, this whole data I'm not able to find. It is easy to find. Yes, please. I need a login. So then we used to give login. Then we used to get data more. So I think this water
it grew organically from some seed kind of thing.
Yes. It's gradually went through. We went through. And we also never planned, I knew it, but we never planned that we should develop a big database and all those things and all that. And I said, no, let's go one by one, step by step. So that's how we did. And we did it in different stages. First software development contract was only 30 lakhs, I think. Next was something like 40 lakhs, like that. So we started adding kind of a thing. And then my team was giving inputs to the software team, all the things. So once we were able to put, say, 10 years data into that and generate some kind of reports and show to the different agencies, different departments, then the interest started.
So give me an example of some of the interest that you got from someone, like tell me one aha moment, for example.
Okay, one very good one, which even some of the public knows, is about Kaveri dispute. So now there is a Kaveri Water Management Authority. So in normal times, they have a meeting every 10 days. And there is a big format, 17-column format, where WRD has to
fill in
each state. Tamil Nadu also has to do. We also have to do. And that should be presented to the Kaveri Water Management Authority, and the discussions will happen. So these 17 columns, each column will take data from 30 years of that particular column, that particular date. So it's not that only 1 or 2 columns you pick up 30 years data and then calculate. Almost like 10 or 12 columns will need data from 30 years back. So it was done manually earlier with Excel sheets and all. So we have dumped everything into this water data portal, and we made a automation to generate that report. We discovered so many errors also earlier, which were in the past.
Things were being done manually.
Yeah. So we corrected all those things, and now it's being generated just like this. And once that started happening, then they started pouring data to us. Hey, put this also, we need this also. Put this also, we need this also. So that's how then started. In fact, actually now my office is not having capacity to handle the inflow of manual data. And very strangely, sometimes we get registers like this.
Wow.
Old registers. So
amazing.
This is what we have. We don't have it in computer. Take it. So then 4-5 data entry operators sit in the office and they do some scanning and some errors and all those things.
Amazing.
So
how has it worked on the Tamil Nadu side? Because then both sides have to have it, or both?
Because we do for only our part.
Correct, exactly.
Yeah.
But they do it manually, or they are also
manually. Everyone is doing manually. Also using Excel sheets sometimes. Yeah. Only we have to do it. In fact, Kaveri, there is another committee down called Kaveri Monitoring Committee. In fact, every state should do it like this.
Yeah, but it makes the job of the tribunal or the authority in this case much easier.
Yeah. But no, as of now, I think it's only we.
What about on the ag side? Have there been, because I know that, like for example in Tungabhadra, not only did you do the data, but you also did a lot of the modeling. I know there's a lot of satellite imagery integration, a lot of very high-end technical work also. So
yes.
What were some of the insights that came out of all of that simulation modeling work?
No, actually, if you talk about remote sensing, the water productivity assessment has been a game changer. And fortunately, we had partnership with IH Netherlands.
So the definition of water productivity is kg per meter cubed or rupees per meter cubed?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Yield as well as
economic productivity.
Also. Yeah. So IHE has really given us a lot of support and a lot of knowledge sharing and capacity building. So once we did that for Tungabhadra command area, both left bank canal and right bank canal, almost like 3.5 lakh hectares, we could easily identify the low productive spots, medium productive spots, and high productive spots. So then we went back to the agriculture department. In fact, we trained some of the agriculture staff also in those with IHE. So then we went back with the results and told to the Commissioner of Agriculture, look, this is what it is. Irrigation department is giving water from the same canal, same dam, same area. But one place you are getting 8 tons per cubic meter of water, but in another place you are getting only 4. So what is it? Your department needs to do something on this. So the water productivity concept has been good. And we converted that. We had a challenge there. They measure only land productivity per hectare.
Yield.
Yield per hectare.
Kg per hectare, tons
kind
per
of a
hectare.
thing. So we somehow converted this also into that and showed them, look, okay, in this patch, 8 tons per hectare is coming, but in this patch only 6 tons is coming, in this patch only 3 tons. So now what do you want to do? So there is something to do with on-farm. So something to do with agriculture inputs.
So what was the was it? But it wasn't because of control over water.
That's also there. It's also there.
Because they would have come back to you and said, you guys control the water better than me.
No, they didn't. But we knew, but we separated it. So those things we are handling with our department, with water resource department.
There's still a residual yield gap.
Yeah, but still there is. Then now, fortunately, after that, all that meetings, discussions with agriculture department at highest level, we included it into the water policy now. That agriculture department now should measure per volume of water, not just land. So hopefully in future it should happen.
So you'll start seeing at least where that allows for water to be used more efficiently.
Yeah. Also. So that's done using remote sensing technology, and which is completely new. Even the state remote sensing agency never knew this. So we trained even some of the people from there with IHE.
So now is the water productivity mapping happening on a year-on-year basis then?
Some projects, not all.
Okay.
Yeah, we are now working to make it more regular. Again, manpower is a challenge. We are not getting good enough experts.
Yeah.
We have trained our own.
Hope some people will listen to this and step up and say, we want to join government.
No, I have interviewed 5 or 6 people with remote sensing qualifications, but nobody knew this methodology. Nobody knew this at all. So, in fact, the office support staff are now doing much better after the training. But now we have
But at the end of the day, government needs, like you're doing, in-house capacity has to be there. Government needs to have its own in-house and then augment with...
But this will be a problem.
Why?
The policy of the government is to reduce manpower. Now you say build in-house capacity.
So then how will that happen?
Outsource.
See, you can outsource.
You should have capacity to assess and monitor at least the products given by the experts.
Even to outsource, you can't have it be at zero capacity. You still need to have a reasonable level to be able to,
So, see, that's what like Teju is one like that. And there is another girl, Ramya. They should manage.
Correct.
Yeah, but you cannot really put up 40, 50 people doing only that job in the department.
Correct. No, I don't mean that. But at least to be able to manage.
That is against the practicing policy of the government.
But also that I can understand, especially things which are one time, it makes sense. But,
Yeah, this has to happen every year actually. Yeah. No, I hope it will come through. And we are also looking at how we should automate it into the water data portal.
Right.
So,
because ultimately it's satellite data which is continuously generated.
Sashi is working on it. Hopefully at some point it should be easy to generate report at the end of the season quickly. Yeah. But definitely the remote sensing, there is a lot of potential. And in government departments it is zero use, especially in agriculture and irrigation. And I think we made good dent here. But I wish every state will do this.
Are you enjoying this episode? If you are, please hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Your reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts will really help us out. And if you can think of a friend, a colleague, or a fellow water enthusiast who might enjoy it, please do share this episode with them. We hope to reach many more changemakers like you. So we were talking about modeling, and I know one of the things that you did and you've tried over the years. So, I mean, we've talked about the data and the satellite imagery, but I know you tried a whole bunch of different type of simulation modeling packages as well. And what's your experience because the reason I'm asking this, if you look at where the research effort in this country goes with all of the premier institutions and so on, bulk of it goes into modeling. Now, on one hand, you have all of that excellent work producing papers in Journal of Hydrology or Water Resources Research or whatever. And then you have a state government agency that is on one hand saying we don't get enough technical help in the places we need. So there is a discrepancy in kind of where the supply of technical work is and where the demand for technical work is. But I know that you're one of the few state government agencies that has actually tried to develop in-house, not in-house, but some capacity in being able to run these models and then embed it into decision making. So how has that experience been?
Yeah, initially when we started looking at some of the complex problems, and also when we were initiating the river basin planning, we realized modeling is an important thing. We should know what are the kind of scenarios and all that. So then we have approached several top academic institutions here. But whatever they shared were not worth using directly by the departments. So when we analyze why is it happening, we had a meeting also calling a lot of academics, and we realized that the academic institutions, the research ones, they just do for the publication's sake.
Yeah.
So they keep up certain boundaries, they assume certain things, and they publish it. It's over there. But for department, you have to practically implement it in the field. So the department chief engineer was asking me, you don't tell me under these circumstances, under these assumptions, or under these parameters. You have to tell me only how much I should raise the gate or how much I should close the gate. So that's the practical thing, which none of the academic institutions were doing.
So but they would claim, like if you see a typical model, there's so many, how many papers have you seen on reservoir optimization, this, that, right? Essentially, they're supposed to be telling people when to raise the gate, they're supposed to be about low.
They will tell, but there will be a list of assumptions. Only if it is like this, only if it is like this, only if it is like this.
But who is going to tell the guy on the ground whether it is like this or like that or like that?
Exactly. And also he has not control on those things. In your research, maybe you have control. But the fellow who is sitting in the farm, sitting in the dam or on the canal, he doesn't have control on all those things. He has to know what are all those things and then decide. So that none of the academic institutions have attempted it.
Also, there's a political angle, right? Because a lot of it is determined by somebody has to take the call on whether you can release water, because there may or may not be, storage left for the dry season, especially if there's a flood coming in, a heavy rainstorm coming in. Should you open the gates and release beforehand? Yeah. Those are political decisions. They are not completely rule curve based decisions.
I don't say it political, but it is socio-political, because after all, ministers doesn't want backlash from farmers.
Nobody wants anybody to die, to be fair.
Yeah.
But they are also afraid, no? Everybody is afraid to take the call.
Because your science is not properly informing.
Because your science is not completely
We have good examples in my experience in here. When we presented properly with data, minister has taken proper decision.
So give us an example.
Yeah. Like Tungabhadra Canal, there has been complaint by the lower tail-end politicians to the minister, the current minister only actually. He was water minister at that time. So that water is being taken away in the head reaches and also outside the command area, and we are not getting
illegally through lift.
Yeah, no, whatever it is. So, but there was no proper way to assess that by the field engineers, because they were outside the command area, they don't go. They say it is not my jurisdiction. And there are political pressures and all those things. So the fellows who are abusing are also related politically strong, and fellows who are complaining are also politically strong. So minister was seized with this problem. So the chief engineer at that time, he came to me and he discussed with me. Then I told, why don't we run a drone survey? Why don't we do remote sensing thing? Let's put up some data on it. We did. He did. He ran a drone survey. So we very clearly map where this water is going, even outside the command area. And we showed to the minister, look, this is what it is. Whereas in writing reports, they don't quote those things because of various pressures. So he very clearly said, look, it's very clear here now. So
is it one...
So that's the informed decision making, because you presented something new.
But what you're saying also...
None of the modeling results are presenting like this.
Right. No, I understand.
Yeah.
No, but you said something important. Two things important. One is, the problem with modeling is it's very assumptions driven. While what is missing is the empirics on the field of saying where's the water going. Because if you assume that the water in the model is going to flow roughly according to where the canals were built, you got it wrong in the first place.
Yes, it is.
So the first thing is spend a lot more time actually just going to the field and looking at where water is going and who's doing what.
Yeah.
The second crucial thing you said is, which is a fundamental kind of conflict, if you or of interest between academics and people working within the government, is writing it up and putting it out, because for academics you have to write the publication, everything has to be external facing.
Yes.
While what you said is ultimately some of these things are so sensitive that they needed to not even be in a report, they need to just be presented to the key decision makers so a negotiation can occur behind the scenes.
Exactly, no. Because, see, even when after the discussions with academics and all, we started evaluating the models also, set of models, which one to use. We looked at SWAT, we looked at HECRAS and all those things. What we realized is many of these so-called models are not really focusing on water management. They look at the higher level block, so dam, release, command area. So entire command area is like one lump. Or say maybe lower part, middle part, higher. But here we have 89 distributaries in Tungabhadra left bank canal. So I need 89 points. So, and we have to make decision making out of how much water should go into each of these and when, and from when to when, and how much amount kind of a thing. So it's all water management. It's not like, okay, dam has got so much, command area is so much, you release so much. No. So that none of these models are really providing enough
at the level of granularity.
Yeah, providing enough leverage without assumptions again. So that's where we zeroed it onto e-water. The source has it. And for plain reason, it was developed by the irrigation department there.
In Australia,
in Australia. So that is the reason they knew what are those water management aspects. So they built into that. So we found it excellent. So that's when we partnered with them. So Murray-Darling Basin Authority uses it heavily. So then when we used it here, it was fantastic for us too.
The key thing is that it was developed by a basin authority and not by an academic institution for academic purposes.
Okay. Yeah. Colorado University, somebody offered, we discussed. It was little good because Colorado authorities were also using. But then they said, we can't do any support.
Oh yes,
we just give this.
You. Yeah.
We just give you.
Yeah.
So if my staff has a problem, then who should they call?
Yeah.
Whereas source has that support. Technical support they give, training support they give. So that's where I really feel that source is the only unique thing which government department can use. Because you have to make water management decisions on a daily basis there. So not on a season level or not on a year level kind of a thing. So we had fantastic experience.
And you were able to sort of use the source model to some extent to kind of rebalance water in the head, middle and tail end to some extent.
Yeah, but not fully because still a lot of things to happen.
Yeah, infrastructure is not necessarily up to that point.
Yeah, but definitely we had beautiful experience. We trained our people also. We sent assistant engineers to Australia for three weeks, 3 batches. They were trained there. They were in Murray-Darling Basin. They were in some other irrigation authority there. They came back and they started working here on the model. And now we have a few assistant engineers who can run on their own.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's the capacity building path we took. And as far as the application part is concerned, Tungabhadra Basin we have run first. We have set up the model and run various scenarios. And Tungabhadra Basin, Tungabhadra Dam is the most important one, the biggest one, and also interstate. And there are several challenges there. So there are new projects planned, like Upper Bhadra project in the north, upper part of the basin. Then there is another one, Singtalur and all those things. Nobody knew what will happen to the functioning of this Tungabhadra Dam.
Because this we see in other places.
So when we have run this model with all these scenarios where when Upper Bhadra project is fully functional, it will draw 29 TMC of water. Singtalur is fully functional, it draws certain amount of water. What will be the effect of release from the Tungabhadra Dam? We had several findings we got, scenarios. So that has become a good discussion point with the chief engineers in the dam.
Do they change any
still these projects are not fully functional.
Not fully functional, huh?
Yeah, but it has to. And that's where we are also working on the institutional part and on the capacity building part. They will definitely change because problem will definitely come.
Yes. What about siltation though? Tungabhadra is also one of the dams with higher siltation compared to other dams in Karnataka.
Yeah, 30% is silted.
I know. So what's going to happen with silt management? I mean, to some extent, that might almost creating sort of a mini Tungabhadra upstream, right? But what's going to happen with siltation in summer? Because we also have an aging infrastructure. And 80% of the dams will be towards the end of their life, within a couple of decades. So
on this siltation aspect, even department attempted several studies, but it was very local kind of a thing for single dam canal. But when we had done the river basin plan for Tungabhadra Basin, we had interesting findings. We started looking at analysis at the watershed level also. So then we could pinpoint 2 watersheds which are contributing huge silt to the dam. Then we presented that to the watershed department. They never had any program in that watershed.
My goodness.
So then we had a meeting with the development commissioner and all. Then it was instructed. That's advantage of having a basin plan.
Yeah.
Because earlier, these people were looking just here, these people were looking just here.
Because you can't do silt apportionment study. You can't do that. And I think the main thing with silt is once it's in the dam, it's really hard to remove. As long as it's in a million small structures, they can be desilted. Yeah. So you can't solve the siltation problem except by preventatively. Or you can, but it's hard to solve.
Yeah. So the river basin planning has really worked out very well on that. Bringing in all the departments together. We had several discussions with each of them.
So, having done all of that, I know one of the big pushes or thrusts of ACIWRM has also been to formalize some of this as part of state water policy.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about how that process has evolved and where it is right now?
Water policy, the new water policy is approved now in 2022 August. Long back 2016, I think, government referred that somebody prepared some kind of a policy draft. The earlier water policy was 2002. So the government referred to us saying that review this and look at it. So then when we reviewed that, we said, no, this is just irrigation policy. It's not water policy. So then we said, these are the pointers. So policy should be more comprehensive and it should be more like this kind of thing. So then government wrote back saying that, okay, you formulate the draft. So initially we thought, okay, good, in few months' time we will get a new water policy. So we drafted something, we circulated to the department because we had put in integrated part also, integrated water resource management part. So then we had to consult with other departments also. It took 5 years.
Yeah. I know that one of the hardest bits, and people complain about the slowness of government, but in a sense, you've always said that the questions you got were people asking honest, hard questions about how it was going to affect their constituency. And that's their job, right?
Of course.
Agriculture has to ask hard questions about what will it do to farmers, and municipal administration has to ask similarly hard questions. So the process of consultation is because of the inherent intersectoral nature of water. What were some of the really hard to answer questions as you went through the process of, and where did you change your mind?
Well, see, when we initially did the draft and circulated to the department, we did get some comments also, and we addressed few things. But then there was a meeting at the government level with all the departments. That's when some of the senior officers have really raised some critical questions. So we said, okay, it's already sent to you. You responded something, your department responded something. But they were still asking few things. So that's when I thought, okay, no, just circulating and getting opinion is not the good thing. We really need to have one-to-one consultation and everything. So then we started doing workshops and all those things.
With each department, one-on-one?
Yeah, and also with several departments. Then we realized some of the new things doesn't emerge from them because they don't know some things. So then we had to present some best case studies from elsewhere or what we are doing kind of a thing. So then the dialogue was very good. So yes, it took 5 years, several meetings, but I think I always say that the ownership has increased very much. If I pushed and got it done in that year only, maybe nobody would have owned it. And it has changed us over the years because everybody has given inputs into that. Each department said, no, not this statement, you should have this statement, kind of a thing. So we changed it. Then still seeing to that it's not contradicting with any other provision. And also sticking to the ACIWRM principles. We negotiated with them. And there is also a need for a champion within the system. I must say, although we were doing so many workshops, so many consultations with all the departments, one time the development commissioner, madam, has taken, former Chief Secretary Vandita Sharma, madam, she has taken initiative and she said, now I want to sit myself with each department. And And she scheduled meetings for 4 days. Each department comes, we used to present, she used to talk, iron out there, seal it kind of a thing. So she was the champion.
And that's a lot of very nitpicky hard work to do it.
Exactly.
How many departments in total over those 4 days? 13 departments.
13 departments related to water. Yeah. So we had to go to 13 departments. So that, and ultimately when it went to cabinet, again cabinet didn't approve it. So that was the first interface with politicians. We did talk to our minister, but with several politicians. So there several questions were asked, and they decided that there should be a cabinet subcommittee to examine this.
And then that started the whole thing all over again, right?
There were 7 ministers put into the committee. So we had to present for them and then answer all their questions. And that's where really we got tough questions. And that's where science is not just science. You need to really look into socio-political things. So that blend.
So tell me an example, because the reason I'm saying this is so many people who listen to this podcast and otherwise want to do something for the country. They are scientists, so on and so forth. So first give us an example of where is the science not science, where you really need to understand the socio-political and do something differently.
When you are working with science, you should identify who is the end user, and you should have constant dialogue with the end user at different stages of your science or your research or your study, whatever it is. You can't say that I will finish it, then I will come and present it. You listen to it and say yes or no. No. So when you have dialogue with the end user, you will definitely get inputs, and you will be forced to change your
position,
your approach, your methodology, everything. So that's lacking with the scientists in the country.
There's no iterative,
not at all.
Working with stakeholders. No. But people also feel intimidated. That's the problem. And I think what you're saying is don't be intimidated.
So. No. Maybe initially. But no. I'm telling you, when I presented in front of all the politicians, even I was a little nervous. But once the dialogue started, when they were asking questions and I was able to answer few things I said I will have to go back and come back. Next meeting was easy.
Because I think what I'm hearing from you is you didn't, and I've never heard you say anything other than these are sincere people asking straightforward questions. I mean, we've had this conversation before. And so I think one part of it is you took them seriously and they took you seriously.
Definitely. As well. See, water is politics. We cannot say that you cannot consult with the politicians. After all, water is politics. So you have to go to them. You have to have dialogue with them. There were ministers who said that nothing what you're doing is rubbish. I said, fine, but this is what it is. So then I asked, so what else to be done? What else to be included? Or what is to be removed? You please tell.
Did you get some?
Yeah, we did.
For example, what did you add?
One of the ministers has asked me, you will say declining groundwater levels is dangerous. You will put it in the policy, it should not be drilled. And all those things. There is no canal, there is no tank.
What is the farmer going to do?
What is the people going to do there? Do you want me to approve this policy? That's where we said, no, that's not just like that. There is also this water data portal. You'll have to make this public. You'll have to tell to the public how much is there, how much can be taken. Then you can plan better schemes. So it's not just that, it's also here. So those kind of things.
And those are fair questions, right?
Of course,
it's so easy to say that, okay, don't pump anymore.
No,
but there are a million people living there.
That's the problem with experts, no. That's the problem with experts. I have hired so many agencies, so many experts now to do some of the studies. They simply write as if that is their verdict. But who are you to give a verdict? First of all, who are you to judge?
Yeah.
You have to present various scenarios. Decision making is somewhere else. It's at the end user part and it's at the policy level part. You are nothing. You'll have to give several options. Experts and expert agencies, consulting companies are lacking this. There is serious human resources.
Because I think there's human resource, but I also think you're disconnected from the output, because you hire a consulting firm, they give you a report, but they don't feel, I mean, that's the key difference between having a government stakeholder do this, because you're in there, you can't run away, you know, while a consulting firm's engagement or a researcher's engagement ends with the production of the output.
Yeah.
And while you have to keep doing it till you get it right. And I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, when ADB project funding has happened for this, for my office, normally the practice of the banks is that you bundle all these activities, consult, tender it, and get a consulting agency to do. I've said nothing doing. We are not going to have a company. We will hire individual consultants into our office.
Fantastic.
And that worked a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we used
because
to
the capacity and the ownership stays with you.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
We hired international consultants. They used to come and sit in my office and work, interact with the department engineers, build the capacity. So it works fantastic for us. It was more administrative work for us because you need to hire each one.
It's not one contract, it's 1,000 contracts. They have to be paid on time.
Yeah,
it's a pain.
But still, it's worth. Because today, I can proudly say there are enough number of engineers who worked in my office, now spread out across various parts of the state, are much, much different perspective and much, much capable than what they were.
And they've absorbed from the consultants also, because you've brought the world's best professionals to them for them to learn.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's always this separation. The consultants come and they go.
Exactly.
And these guys are just recipients of.
Exactly, yeah. This design also worked a lot for us.
Nice. So now that the water policy has been approved, what's kind of the next step? How does anything change on the ground?
Well, actually, one important thing that happened in this state, which never happened in any other state, is when this water policy was approved by the government, they also made provision to set up 2 committees, high-level committees, to monitor the implementation. So they basically intended that it's a serious business. So they set up one monitoring committee at minister's level, which is called Interdepartmental Water Resources Authority, with several ministers and water minister as the chair, and another committee at chief secretary level, with all the departments heads as members, called High Level Water Policy Committee, chaired by the chief secretary. So they are supposed to be monitoring what's happening on this water policy kind of a thing. So it is very unique. It never happened in any other state, I tell you.
Because nobody monitors policy, right?
Policy is policy, that's it. And everybody forgets it. Yeah. So then in the first meeting of the High Level Water Policy Committee, Chief Secretary has instructed us, okay, now you tell us how to implement this policy and how much time it should take, kind of a thing. So then we worked on it and we prepared something called implementation roadmap for the water policy. So we fixed 10 years as the frame. And then for every strategy that is listed in the policy, we mapped which are the departments and which are the agencies within the departments will be working for that. And who will be the lead one or who will be the supporting one. Some of them will be jointly kind of thing. So we mapped all that. And we also put up possible activities, culling out from what we have done here, new things, and also the best practices around the world. So we prepared completely a good document and circulated to all the departments. And then that was approved by the High Level Water Policy Committee of the implementation roadmap of water policy. And then they asked each of the department, all these 13 departments, to prepare their own action plan based on this implementation roadmap.
Fantastic.
So they are preparing now. Let's see, we recently done for WRD. Other departments also we are having meeting. And ACIWRM is the secretariat for that committees. So we are supporting all the departments in framing up those things. So each department is also going to prepare a 10-year plan and also a yearly action plan. And that yearly action plan has to be brought to this committee. It will be approved. So if it fits into the current activities and current budget, fine. Otherwise, they will have to seek new budget and new strategies kind of a thing. So the High Level Water Policy Committee will approve it. Then implementation will start on that. So this has been a very good step, I think.
So let me ask you, what does success look like if you had to, at the end of life, say, you know, I did that water policy and this changed. What does that look like?
Well, I don't think I should call it success, because water sector
it's tough.
Keeps evolving.
Yeah.
So many challenges.
Yeah.
But even if it provides a good direction to the investments, large investments the government is making, I think I'm happy.
So you're saying that if investments there is some more interagency coordination and investments are based on something which is kind of more deliberate rather than ad hoc, then that would start looking...
I call it informed decision making.
Informed decision making.
So you have better data, you have better inputs, and you have better experiences shared from elsewhere.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it is a hot, dry, semi-arid place. So you can't guarantee that all problems will be solved. But what you can do is continuously do better.
Yeah. Interestingly, actually, for this also we did one thing. We have prepared something called Karnataka Water Development Outlook. So it's like an measurement of where the water sector is in terms of water security. So we prepared for 1 year. So certain indices are there covering all water sectors. So if you keep doing it after a few years, if that index improves, then there's a lot of improvement.
Great.
Yeah.
That gives the basis, because having the metrics and the mechanism then ensures that, okay, if the two of them are taken seriously, then it can actually go.
But institutional reforms is still a big thing. We prepared several analysis on the institutional part. So what we call it as water governance. So both on institutions, rules, acts, then agencies which are their mandates, and what are the new things that are coming up, challenges, whether that has been covered under any of the act or not. So those kind of things. So that institutional governance, I think, will be a long way to go. It will happen, definitely. But it's not just on the functioning of the department or the agencies, but also on the processes. Like if you take the water data portal, now we are talking about standards. So now we have picked up WMO, Water ML 2.0 standards. So if that happens, that will be a completely different thing. And it's very important too, because several departments are generating data related to water.
Right.
So if there are not common standards, validation is becoming challenging, streamlining is becoming challenging.
You said the other day, rainfall data itself comes from like 3-4 different agencies, right? Yeah. It comes from the Department of Economics and Statistics, it comes from KSNDMC, it comes from WRD, and those are the three. And IMD, of course, has its own other center.
So I think what the data standards and data processes, I think itself is a big job to do. We have a good report on that too, we prepared. So that's what I'm telling you. We have prepared several of the items. We touched upon several of the aspects of the water sector. And I'm sure in the water policy roles, all of these things will come up.
Fantastic.
At least next decade, it will be something different.
So I wanted to kind of, towards the end, ask you 3 or 4 questions. What are your asks for each of the knowledge side of the sector, right? Including people like us. But then there are research organizations, and then there is engineering colleges and the capacity, the people who train young people, master's programs and so on. What are you seeing as major gaps, and what would you like each of these people to do differently? So let's start with research institutions. What would you want the premier research institutions to produce differently so that something there is valuable to you?
Yeah, whenever you are setting up the research agenda itself, have good consultation with the state governments, because ultimately they are the end users.
Yes.
So frame up according to their needs. It may be challenging, it may not be easy sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, we've asked you and you've given very, very sharp and specific research questions.
If these research institutes set up the agenda in consultation with the government department and the government staff, I think the research will be more closer to what is exactly needed. So that would be great. First thing. And second thing, also capacity building. So you don't do research in isolation yourself and give a report at the end. Train the people.
Come and be embedded in your department.
Exactly. Yeah, you keep interacting, you do short trainings maybe as part of that research program. Then I think your results also will be well taken.
I think that's one of the reasons why the IHE engagements for you have also worked, because they've been a research plus training engagement.
Yeah. And they used to come regularly every year.
And sit in your office.
They used to sit with us, not just doing their work there and sending us the software or the reports.
Correct.
Yeah, and they used to go to the field also with people, with our people. And they were very open to change several things which our staff suggested. They never said that, no, we tested this everywhere, so it's good. No. They had changed, they took pains. They changed few things. then it worked very well for us.
Okay, the second constituency being sort of people who are generating the next generation of water sector, cadres. All the master's programs around the country at IITs, the TERIs, the TISLs, all of these places. What do you feel young people who are coming out of these programs need to be thinking about or need to be trained? I mean, where are the skill gaps that you're seeing? That sort of thing.
No, first of all, I think there is a huge divide between what is needed and what they are training on. So whether you call it syllabus revision or whether you call it pedagogy, I think there's a huge gap.
What is the gap?
Because we have been consciously taking fresh MTechs and fresh BTechs as an internship for a few months. We realized they can't do anything of anything. So we have to start investing on that. So I think all of these engineering colleges or the postgraduate things, they should really beef up their syllabus first.
So what is the exact skill gap that you're seeing? Like, is it that they don't have a field context, or is it that they just can't do basic programming to clean up data sets type of thing? Both of those.
Yeah. Field completely, they are never in touch, because I get MTech people, fresh people, they said they never went out of Bangalore.
I know. I mean, you don't have to go out of Bangalore, but you can go.
They even completed a project work also.
Look, I mean, but that's even true of, when you go abroad. Even if you're not leaving the city, you will go and see the drains of the city and do measurement there at least. So it's not like you have to leave a city to do water.
A couple of young people, when we took them to the field, they said, how long this canal is? How many hours we should walk? I said, you should walk days. What? 200 kilometers canal. They discovered
that a canal is very long.
And they passed with 90% marks in irrigation engineering subject. So those kind of things. I think the academic institutions definitely will have to beef up a lot, and they are not matching to the requirements of the market now, definitely. Because we have hired so many people, fresh MTechs also. We have created a position called research associate kind of a thing. So we take only MTech fresh people, not with experience. Everyone, we are investing time for training. And like you look at this water accounting using remote sensing, none is doing. Water productivity using remote sensing, none is doing. Source modeling, if you talk to any institute, they say SWAT, nothing else.
Yeah. It's free, no? Sources.
You mean to say education institutions doesn't have money? They charge so much for the people. They can buy any other license.
And most of these people will give them student licenses for free, or very cheap.
Yeah, education institutions get free licenses also.
Yeah.
Forget about it, even QGIS, not many people are knowing. They know only RGIS. So there's a huge gap in what is actually required and what is being offered by these premium institutes or even...
as a separate thing, what we should do...
The whole education sector, I think, especially in water.
I think it might be good, though, to put out a little listing saying, here's what the skills that departments are asking for, so that, and even if it's not departments, right? I mean, if you're literally the organization that does the work for government, if people are not able to look at that and see what does that agency want, and you're not providing for that, then what are we doing with...
See, before we embarked on the huge capacity building training, I wanted to harness the infrastructure and the human resources of top engineering colleges. We have listed out what is to be done, what trainings have to be offered on what. And we have designed an ACIWRM training. We had meeting with everyone. We called all these top institutes people. We said, please, can you offer this? We will send people. We will pay for it. You just offer this and improve on this with new knowledge, new developments. None have taken. None. So that is when we started doing ourselves. The reason, it is interdisciplinary, it's difficult for us.
Yeah.
You tell me civil engineering, I will do. You tell me something else, I will do.
But I know yours has economics, finance, it has
everything.
Yeah.
I said, you hire, I will pay for the faculty. No, they were not ready. And I said, committed 1,000 candidates I will give you. I will pay for those 1,000. They were not ready.
It's just, yeah.
So we had to build our own faculty team. We had done a training of trainers ourselves, and we had run the course. And today we covered 1,500 engineers.
Fantastic. I mean, I know I've seen parts of these trainings, and we were very early. We've done some of the trainings for you. Okay.
So all these big institutes, if they can't meet the requirements of the department, or the requirements of department is not the department's requirement, it is the public department, public requirements.
Yeah.
I don't know what are we doing with this.
Yeah. So last constituencies, people like us who are sort of in the, public innovation think tank space. What would you like from people like us? And there are many, water public policy organizations like us. What would you hope from us?
No, definitely, whatever innovation you can do in research too, I think will be very useful for us. Definitely we would be able to take up. And if you do it in partnership, it will be great. Because then you can also use the field where we can facilitate on the ground kind of a thing. And there are several things which department themselves cannot do it. And even my office, although it is unique, maybe we cannot do everything.
I mean, there's a sheer limit to how many people you cannot hire 1 million people. Yeah.
So I'm sure there are. If you work on a current problem and offer some good solution, I'm sure it will be very welcome.
Okay. I mean, I know we are starting work with you on various things in North Karnataka. So I'm really excited about what all the work we are doing together. I think I just wanted to end by thanking you. This has been an incredible conversation only because, we rarely get a chance to talk to somebody who works on the inside of government and has the kind of knowledge and experience that you have and is able to put it in a way, in an engaging way that will actually appeal to audiences. So thank you so much, Dr. Rao. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, Veena. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
That's it for this episode of the Water Data Podcast. Thank you for listening till the end. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to the Well Labs YouTube channel and share this episode with your friends and colleagues. You can find the Water Data Podcast on all major podcast platforms. Until then, stay curious and stay connected. Thank you.